Welcome to Homes of Color. My name is Corriece Gwynn. This is the first of two episodes that we're doing on the Philadelphia Flower Show. The Flower Show is held every year in Philadelphia, usually the first week of March. During the 2024 Flower Show, I had the opportunity to interview Sherri Grimes Jenkins. Based in Mahopac, New York, which is about 50 miles outside of New York City, her company is named EMY Custom Flowers. I hope that you enjoy the interview, and there's still more to come about the flower show and some of the beautiful exhibits that they have there. Our website, Homes of Color, is still under construction, but please enjoy the show, and thank you for watching.
And he said, do a casket piece. And they said that might be morbid for the kid that's coming in with their mother. And the mother, we don't mind explaining death, but some people have a problem explaining death. And they don't see it as a part of life. Right? They don't see it as a transition of life, right? So I struggled with that for months. Then it came down to me sleeping every night with index cards next to my bed, getting up at 2 a.m, jotting down IDs. News stations, they have somebody writing and they have somebody recording.
Right.
Because you can always miss detail and she can go back to the detail later. So I'm going to start with the concept again for her.
Okay.
Okay, you remember what I talked about the index cards? Do I need to go back there?
Right. You
But
talked
if-
about the index. Before you do that, you were born in Barbados and raised here, or were you?
I was born and raised in the Caribbean, and mine was agriculture. So I'm just going to give a brief tip on what I did as far as coming up with the concept very quickly because it's very difficult for me to come up with. And I spent months with index cards and trying to come up with ideas. At first, I wanted to do a sympathy, and it came with sympathy ideas, and they didn't work. Tear up a lot of index cards at 6 o'clock in the morning. You remember these details, right? Just taking them through really quickly. And then I got an order from FSN, which is one of our partnerships in the program, in this on this exhibit. Putnam Westchester Bowl Caesar Trade High School is also one of our partnerships on this exhibit. And they asked me to deliver flowers for a lady who was turning 100 years old. And her family said to me she was still drunk. And when I got to the door to bring the flowers from her son, and I saw her face when she opened up the door, when she saw the flowers, she wasn't very into it, but when she saw the flowers for her birthday, her whole face changed. It turned red. She was happy. And the whole week when I was delivering, I started to sink in more to when people were delivering, when I was delivering to people and seeing the transition or the change. I said transition. The change on their face from being upset. One guy was like, I'm watching the game. But when he saw the flowers, his attitude changed. And it really made me sink into how people are united from the person who sends it to the florist like me who makes it and taking it to the door. That's uniting people, and the happiness and tranquility and peace that flowers bring when people see it. You actually see that change in their face when they see flowers. So this design heart at the door was inspired by the lady who turned 100. And I went with this concept. I didn't want to design another mannequin. I just designed a mannequin for the Bermudian government for Fleur de la Ville. I didn't want to make the door look like one particular door because I felt in this, my whole thing for this is no matter the occasion, no matter the time, no matter the door, the flowers have to always be greeted by a heart, by someone's heart. So whether it was a funeral, whether it's a wedding, whether it's a birthday, it goes to doors. It has to go to a catering hall door, it has to go to a funeral home door, it has to go through someone's birthday. And who gets it? A heart. So instead of designing a person and making this look so, you can say this person is black, this person is green, yellow, this person is fat, tall, I went straight for a big heart. And that's what my inspiration came from.
Yeah. I mean, are you drawing it out on a board? How exactly are you getting from the vision to the actual layout and implementation of the vision?
So for me, it's the index cards I told you about. Then I sketch a little bit. And as far as the flowers, when you talk about a heart, the first thing you think about is roses.
Right.
And I came up with this concept in October. And you think about red roses because red roses symbolize love. People see that no matter who you are. So I thought about different textures. Like I have a suckling in the heart, and they felt like that was a sucker for love. And then I had, like a tortilla, African tortillas. I have them in there. They, just to symbolize like the spiciness. That one is a little bit orange and red, but it's fiery. So like a fiery, like putting all these different characteristics into this one heart. And as you look at it, it has so many different textures and so much different focal points happening. And I thought of the red rose and things in red and different textures that would help bring this heart together.
Oh, okay.
As far as the background of the heart, we got a heart cut out that was 4 feet out of a plywood, and it was painted red. And I must say that I got a little discouraged when Valentine's came.
Why?
Because everyone had a bloody heart on their lawn. And I said to myself, I'm going to do this, and now this is going to be something where there's going to be tons and tons and tons of hearts, and people are going to say, oh, Valentine just went by, we don't want to see another heart. So at one point, I kind of gave up the concept. And I got a little hurt, felt a little weird, about the heart. And then someone called me and said, hey, your story is wonderful, man. It was another designer. The story is wonderful. It makes sense. It talks about us in the industry along with, because it talks about the delivery and how it unites florists from all around the country, or unite people from all around the country through florists. That it really brought forth that good story. So stick with it. And I haphazardly stuck with it, and then I got it. I said, when I spoke to Hannah and Seth runs the show, and when I spoke to Hannah said, I love that story. No one has that twist on it. And I said, okay, I'm going to do this.
So then you started plugging in. Are you the only reason I'm asking this is because when I write, I visualize words. A lot of people, I think whenever you're dealing with an artist, whether it's, someone who's writing or painting or designing flowers like you, a lot of times, when you're in that realm, you're actually I visualize words, when I'm writing. And
I am a very visual person.
Okay.
So it's not only like seeing it on paper. I go out to different wholesalers. I have to touch that flower.
That's what okay.
I have to touch it. I have to look at the colors, everything else. I go to drawing and try to see it in drawing, and then trying to get an idea of studying who can last.
So are you doing your drawing, or are you giving it to someone else to do the rendering?
I do my rough sketch, and then we have someone that does a rendering for me, who's a
Okay.
professional in rendering.
Okay.
And he does a rendering. He's a guy, a senior guy who is getting ready to retire. And I knock on his door and say, hey, I need your help. But how can I say, Mr. Saez is his name. And Sainez. And we go from rendering. Last year I did do a color rendering. This year I didn't do a color rendering because Mr. Sainez's wife is suffering from cancer.
Oh, okay.
And he wasn't able to complete it. But he was able to get my sketch together and talking to Seth and Hannah and kind of get an idea what my platform needs to look like. And this year there's a lot of thought went into this piece. We wanted to make sure that whoever was working on the piece was very comfortable.
Okay.
Last year our platform was almost 5.5 feet.
Oh, wow.
The hat was 19 feet, and there wasn't much space to walk through. And it was very difficult and very laborious. So this year when I designed this piece, I wanted to make sure it was easy to get on top of. Everything from the top down was manageable. That's why I went with dry materials and variegated design on the side with the curly willow and stuff like that. So there wouldn't be that much of maintenance and a lot of work, And we wanted to make sure it's easily accessible for anyone or myself who has to repair it. Because I do suffer with lower back, after carrying so many buckets, you do suffer with lower back issues and stuff in this industry, and tired hands, tired feet.
Did you do it all, or did the union laborers come in and help you with some of the basic stuff?
I didn't need the union laborers because our stuff was fabricated from New York.
Okay.
That's what helps me a lot. And plus we have if you have someone on your team that does that, that's a different thing. But once again, we partner with Putnam, Northern, Westchester, BOCES to give the carpentry students an opportunity. I wanted to give the carpentry students an opportunity to see their work on a bigger platform and to encourage them to be happy about their trades. So with that partnership, the Putnam, Westchester, Northern Westchester students built the platform. So all we had to do was come here and just jot it together. And they did a really good job.
Okay, that was my question. Because the trades, they have to, have access. Because what happened is that we built a 4,900 square foot house in the convention center, and we ran into issues because no one told us, even when we were making arrangements to build the exhibit, that the union laborers had oversight of anything that came onto the floor. And so we actually had to get a congressman involved in trying to get that house built because it was what they call specialized labor, and just because you're union labor doesn't mean that you could build that house in 3 days.
I
So
respect
that
the
was an
unions,
issue.
and I understand like the work behind what we do and what the
Right.
unions do, and they're there for that kind of work. But when you have like a specialized
Yes,
job or what
right,
have you,
exactly.
they
You have
the
to
team
turn it
people-
around,
Yes,
right.
you have to turn it around. But the union guys are usually pretty good.
Okay.
But I know here that for us that we have prefabricated stuff.
Okay, that's
You
what
building a house,
Yeah.
it's not prefabricated.
No,
No matter how you,
no.
no
They
matter
build
how
it
you
from
put it.
sticks.
Yes. So were you able to work with the union?
Yes. We got a congressman involved, and he actually helped us negotiate with the unions. And what we worked out is that the unions brought all the materials to the floor, but then we had the tradesmen that took over, and some of them were carpenters. They actually built the house from sticks, put up the garages, put up the walls, installed the bathrooms, laid tile. We had everything the house would have in it. So except for that, it was all union. All special.
The union guys here brought the stuff onto the floors
Right.
and stuff, and they're very involved. I must say the union here is really awesome. These guys are awesome. They really take good care of us. We haven't had any problems. This is my second year in the show, and I see them right on team, like willing to help us get this thing executed.
Yeah, I just
do.
wanted to make sure that I didn't know with the floor show how much you guys had to prepare in advance before you even
You're
got
smart
here.
to prepare a lot of things.
It's smart to prepare a lot of things in advance.
They're smart
Okay.
to prepare.
So the New York Botanical Gardens, do they give you like a BA, a BS, or is it kind of like a?
I went
it's
to
like
college for design.
so you got a
Yeah,
certification. Okay.
And now I'm preparing for my AFID.
Okay.
AFID is capital.
Okay. I get it. Okay. So I just basically wanted to know what your background was, just in terms of just kind of writing, and usually what I do whenever I write about somebody before I publish it or put it online or anything, I always kind of send them.
That's good because with Con Edison, I ended up suing them for sexual harassment and discrimination. So I don't talk about them that much.
Oh, well, I wouldn't put that in there.
Yeah.
I didn't even write it down because that's not
Yeah.
my focus of my story. The focus of my story is basically what you're doing now, But for me, when I ask you questions, it helps me to be able to write about
Yes, I know.
just generally.
No problem.
But whenever I do, I always send it back to them with pictures most of the time.
Thank
just
you.
to see, where we're going with
Thank
the
you.
story and just to get their approval. And also there may be some things that I forgot that I
Yeah, so you need to want to go over.
So what's your website? I didn't
Our
get that
website,
right.
we have two websites. I have a website called EMYCustomFlowers.com.
Okay.
That is a website that started on my own, but they wouldn't make me any money. So I ended up going over to the Flower Shop Network, one of my sponsors, who has day-to-day work, and I'm able to put some of my work there.
Okay.
And that's how we have. So EMYCustomFlowers.net is where people go to shop, and our .com is where they see where I'm at next, where I write my blogs and everything else.
Okay. So you put your blogs on EMYCustomFlowers.
.com, yes.
Okay.
I haven't found a way. I'm trying to figure out how I can merge the two, and because this is one thing that you would learn. And I stuck behind EMY Custom Flowers from 2015. No, was it 2015? It was developed to me in 2015, 2014, and I stuck with it until 2020 to 21, realizing it's not accepting that it wasn't really turning over. Convergence, it wasn't making me business. It was like a show and tell, and not being humble to understand that what people say to me, this thing has got to sell to a client within 8 seconds. If
Right.
you don't capture a client in 8 seconds, you lose them.
Right.
And I didn't want to accept it because it was mine. And then one day I realized I really didn't have any money, and I really need to make money, and I'm struggling here. I'm gonna make money, and I went out to lobby in Washington. The Leaf Florist Group invited me, and Society of American Florists, and I met some other florists who are third and fourth generation florists, millionaires in the industry, that looked at me and told me, "Girl, what are you doing? You have to partner with one of these people in order to make money. The way you're going, you'll never make money this way. You'll stay starving artist for a long time." And I did that. I went back and took the advice they gave me, and slowly I went into like the Flower Shop Network and stuff like that. And I gave them help when they first started. I didn't want to, because you have something, your baby, and you don't want to let it go because you have this vision for it, but your vision might not be clear. The way you want to do things may not add up with how society is doing things today. It may not. And there are people who are really specialists in the industries that we're in, that we focus on the design and they focus on how to get it to the customer. And when I learned to humble myself and listen, that's when I started making a few dollars. I don't have all the dollars yet, but I have, I'm getting there. So this is just something I'm saying to you along with what I had to do for myself. Just listen to those who have the experience to know when to make certain moves. It's almost 2. Did you take pictures of the design already?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
great.
great.
Yesterday, actually.
Yesterday. You should take it today. It's fresher.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm really telling
Oh,
you.
he did.
Today, right?
Before you came. Yes.
Okay, because yesterday is not a good day.
Okay.
Because they had a lot of dead product in it.
Okay.
But last night I came in and I put a lot of fresh. So if you look at the difference between the two, you see I have more of a quality heart today.
Yeah, he took some more pictures today when he came in.
So
he has 2,000 stems.
Oh, the heart alone has close to 2,000 or over 2,000 stems. On or about, that's a legal way to say it, on or about 2,000 stems.
Okay.
And we have different flowers, heart, roses, red roses. We have delphiniums at the exhibit. We have hydrangeas at the exhibit. We have carnations, who I love. People give a negative connotation to carnations, but they're that flower that's going to stick with you a very long time, and they're not going to give up on you. We have proteas, African proteas there.
What is that African?
Protea. We have a pin cushion protea. It's the one that looks like very prickly. It's in the heart. So it has like a little prickly.
Is it P-O-R-T-I-O?
Pin cushion protea. And you can look it up there.
Okay.
Pin cushion protea.
Okay.
Thank you, dear. We have pin cushion proteas. We have gladiolas, who people have only associated them with funerals, but gladiola is a very, very beautiful flower, and we're highly respected in the Asian community. Mm-hmm. We have some mumps. We have orchids. So we have a slew of different fresh cut flowers in the design.
What about some of the greenery that you have there? I know. What are some of those?
So we have a greenery that I love a lot. I am a yogi.
Okay.
I study yoga. I teach yoga.
Okay.
And I'm always about the aromatherapy. So in here you have lilies that brings people in. That's got a lot of things that people see in a negative light, but I love lilies. And then the one of the greens I have there is called myrtle. It's a long, tall greenery.
Okay.
And if you smell myrtle is very welcoming. It's a very beautiful smell. It's got a lot of aromatics, you say? Aromatics, you think? So myrtle is there. You do have some lemon leaf. You do have variegated pit. You do have pit. You do have some leather. So it's different greens there. That tropical feel. The door is a patina door that we patinaed ourselves. That's very, because that's what you were in, that home stuff, right? So it's a patina door. We patinaed the door itself. It was white. We patinaed it using the beer product, B-E-H. You know how to spell that, I don't know. Using the beer product. And we cut a hole in the door and we designed dry cuts in the door, right? And the door replicates that of one of the Barbadian Caribbean doors. That's what I'm going to bring to life. One of the Barbadian Caribbean doors. And the colors are like the Caribbean colors. So it's as if you're going to a home we call a chattel house in Barbados.
And chattel house.
You know what it is?
No, I was going to ask you.
This is why you triggered something. A chattel house is known to be used during slavery or plantation. Who lived on a plantation. It's a house that can pack up very quickly and move from one place to the other. And when you go to the Caribbean, they're very high colored, and that's going to be one of my next designs. Very high colored houses. Color of her shirt, and orange and pinks and reds. You will find the house will be wood, but the windows will be green and the roof will be pink, and it's very vibrant. You should look it up, Chattel House.
Okay.
So when my consul general came, he picked up on it right away. He just flew from Barbados. He said, "Sherri, I have to ask you a question. Did you get this idea from one of the chattel houses?" I said, "Yes, I did." No one would. I didn't introduce it because people wouldn't understand. But he picked it up, and you got that secret because I didn't get that to any other media people. But yeah.
Thank you. That's amazing. That's exactly what I'm looking for. Yeah.
So when you look at this pink, it's this color pink.
And so the colors that you use, when you're talking about those Caribbean colors, is green,
yellow, and red.
Okay.
And I wanted to give that vibrancy. see Channel Houses in Barbados. Look at it.
Oh yeah. And so I'll read up on them, but they would just pick them up and just take them.
Well, that was the purpose. My family worked on plantations. My grandmother grew up in Spicetown, which had a lot of plantations, and that's how I know it to be growing up as a kid. A house that you can move.
Okay.
You know, and we should make sure that I'm saying that correctly because that's what I know it as. A house that can be moved during that I can remember during plantation.
Oh, I know.
Well, I want to make sure.
Oh, you want to buy it?
Yeah, because you got to make sure you got your details correct. I'm sorry. I hope I'm not taking you off course.
No, that's fine. He brought us back a whole new area we hadn't thought about.
Well, this is good that we came up with it. So the system was because we didn't own the land. The land was owned by the
Right,
plantation.
yeah, this is kind of like sharecropping here in the United States.
Quickly moved.
Oh, wow, quickly moved to a new
It was
property.
yeah.
Wow.
So as they go from plantation to plantation, because we didn't own the land, the plantation owners owned the
Right.
land. Yeah. So Channel Houses, I have a little miniature one, very pretty, and that I'm sorry I didn't tell Channel 7 about it, but that was the inspiration behind this design.
Okay.
And I didn't think about patina in this door on my own. The door was white, and I had a friend say to me, "Why don't you patina in the door?" And her husband got a patina in the door, and when I kind of looked at it, I said, "Wow, this is who I am. It's a part of my culture." I took a break during COVID. I had my 200 hours. I was teaching 5 classes a day at the drug rehabs.
Wow.
I would have kids who were very young, who were recovering from heroin, to adults. And when they closed the children's program, I left that. I taught at Google. I taught at the Boys and Girls Club. My design really is about, my hashtag is Yogi Florist. I am a Yogi Florist. I try to bring that into, so I've been studying something called horticulture as a therapy. I believe in floriculture as a therapy. I believe that flowers can give you that therapeutic. So when I did the heart, every insertion was done with a meditative breath. I stood on that heart from 7 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night doing that heart. And it was all done with a meditative breath. It wasn't like, oh, let me just push up. It was the deep breath and the exhale. Every insertion was done in meditation, and it was like a silent meditation for me. Because for me, it's not about material things. You cannot take that to the ending with you. What some people say, I would say, when I go to fertilize a tree, when I become fertilization, you don't take it.
Your hashtag was what, Yogi?
Yogi Florist.
Yogi Florist. Okay.
Yes. It's EMY for events and Yogi Florist. So I'm really, really about that. That's riches for me.